Times are difficult at the moment, so why don't I start by talking about somebody who also faced a difficult situation. His name was Archie Cochrane. Here's a picture of him. And he was a very famous Scottish doctor and epidemiologist. He reformed the way that the British medical establishment thought about healthcare. But that's not what interests me about Archie Cochrane. What interests me was what he did during the Second World War. During the war, he was a prisoner of war in a German prison camp. And because he was a doctor and because he spoke fluent German, he was in charge of the welfare of the prisoners and of looking after them and communicating with the German guards. And here was the problem. The prisoners were suffering from some kind of disease. Archie didn't understand what the disease was, or what the cause was, or what might happen. Would it be a disease that would kill people, or was it less serious? Now, he was trying to solve this problem in a very difficult situation. The German camp guards had got bored. They would shoot across the camp just for fun, to see if they hit somebody. On one occasion, one of the German guards took a hand grenade and threw it into the prisoners' lavatories because he said he heard something suspicious, some laughter. And Archie, being the doctor, was the first man into the lavatories to try and clear up the mess. So this was a difficult problem in a difficult situation. And when we face a difficult problem in a difficult situation, I think it's very easy to fall into one of two traps. One trap is to say, it's hopeless. We don't understand what to do. We can't do anything, and to give up. And the other trap is to be too confident, to immediately say, I don't need to understand the details of the problem. I'm just going to go straight forward. I'm going to take action. I'm going to do something. And Archie realized that that is also very dangerous. If you don't understand the situation, then just doing something is not going to help. So what did Archie do? Well, he had already managed to smuggle into the camp supplies of vitamin C. And he then managed to buy, on the black market, supplies of Marmite. Now, okay, as an Englishman, I have to explain to you what Marmite is. So Marmite is this thing, it looks like crude oil, and we put it on our toast, and it tastes, very nice. Marmite, though, is a source of vitamin B12. So now we have two vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin B12. And Archie divided the prisoners into two groups. He gave half of them vitamin C, he gave half of them Marmite, vitamin B12. And he wrote down his results in a little notebook. And after just a few days, it became very clear that no matter what the disease was, there was a cure, and the cure was Marmite. So he then went to the Germans and he said, you have to imagine now that this guy with a long, long beard, he looks like a homeless person, he's speaking perfect German, and he tells the Germans that Germany is the culture that gave Goethe to the world, it gave Schiller to the world, it's a great culture, and they must look after the prisoners and they must supply vitamins. And after a while, the camp commander, he listens to Archie and he sends him away. So Archie goes back to his hospital ward. He gives vitamin B12, he gives the Marmites to the other half of the patients. And then he returns to his room. And he breaks down and he cries. Because at that point, he thinks, okay, now the situation is hopeless. I've done everything. But a young German doctor picks up Archie's notebook. And he says to his colleagues, gentlemen, this evidence is perfect. It's incontrovertible. If we don't supply vitamin B12 to the prisoners, we are committing a war crime. And within a few days, supplies of vitamin B12 began to turn up at the camp, and the prisoners got better. Now, I tell this story not because I think we should run special medical-style experiments in every situation. I think sometimes that's useful, but that's not what I believe. And I'm not telling you about Archie Cochrane because I think Archie Cochrane was a hero, although Archie Cochrane was a hero. The reason I'm so interested in this is because of Archie Cochrane's attitude to solving very complex problems. He didn't despair, he didn't give up, but also he didn't act before he understood the situation. He said, we need to be humble, we need to find out what we're dealing with before we can adapt and deal with it. So that was Archie's approach. In fact, his whole life, he campaigned against what he called a disease. He called it the God complex. And the God complex is when people become so overconfident in the face of a complicated problem, they think they're like God. Nothing can go wrong. They don't need evidence. They don't need data. They don't need to ask for advice. They just do something, anything. Now, Archie saw this God complex all around him because he was a doctor and he saw it in other doctors. Now, I'm an economist, so obviously I don't suffer from the God complex, and of course neither do my fellow. Well, okay, maybe we suffer a bit. In fact, I've become convinced that more and more we're facing very complex problems in the economy, in politics, in society, and in business. And I believe that to solve these problems, we need to think about Archie Cochrane's warning about the God complex, his warning to take action, but also to be humble, to be modest.